Hi everyone. My name is Sue Quillen. I'm the VP of Strategy and Partnerships here at Natural Products Canada, and I'm super excited to welcome you all here for this Ask Me Anything session with Don Thompson. First, just a couple of housekeeping items before we get into things. So to prevent distractions for everyone, you're all on mute and your video is turned off. That's also because we're recording this event, so it will be available on our website, and we'll send you a link for that tomorrow, so you don't have to be writing crazy notes. And Don has also generously offered to give us a copy of the deck as well, so you'll have that for a reference. Second, we're going to keep the Q&A tool open during the entire event, so you can ask your question anytime. We'll try to get to all of them, and either during the presentation or at the end. So you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions, but we have a lot that came in prior, and we'll be focusing on those to start. So before we begin, for those of you that don't know MPC, just a couple of key points. We're here to help move Canadian natural product innovation to market. Clean, green solutions reach right across a range of sectors, and that is creating $1 trillion opportunity. MPC is specifically focused on those that are biologically based. Many of you will, can we just go back one, Mira? Many of you will recognize the smiling faces on this slide. We have an amazing team that helps us deliver national focus with a regional presence. And you can go to the next slide. Thank you. The dual nature of that focus, kind of looking at the big picture, but acting on specific opportunities, is also really reflected in our cluster model. And we have based our whole service offering around creating connections to each other and to the expertise and capital and other resources that we have across the ecosystem. And so you can see, doing this, we've had some pretty great results. We're really, really proud of what we've been able to do and how many companies we've been able to help in the 7 years that we've been in existence. And one of my favorite facts is the fact that for every dollar that we've been able to give to a Canadian startup, they've been able to attract another 64. So that's a nice one. And then on this next slide, you see some of the key ways that we've been able to produce those results: our advisory services, our commercialization programs, which provide up to $250,000 to help early stage companies get to the next level. There's cluster building initiatives like our recent report on Canadian opportunities in fermentation. And there's our innovation hub for creating connections, and it includes events like this one today. And finally, investment. Not only did we start an investment fund, Nadera Ventures, which is a $50 million fund for Canadian startups in the natural product space, but we also work every day to connect our innovative clients with private and public investors who can help them meet their full potential. So that was pretty quick. So if you want more information, please feel free to reach out to me after the event, and I'm happy to connect you to the right member of our team to learn more. So without further ado, one of the great things about MPC is that we have attracted a really amazing network of experts in all sorts of fields. So when our clients have a challenge, we have this excellent community to draw on. And Don Thompson is definitely one of those experts. He's the founder of Beacon Commerce, which is a boutique firm that specializes in helping clients maximize their sales on Amazon. So Don, we are so glad to have you. Welcome, and thank you so much for offering to do this. As I said, we had lots of questions come in. Everyone's got a lot of things that they want to know. So before you jump into that, I hope that you'll just take a bit of time to tell us about yourself and your background, because I know it's really interesting.
Absolutely. So thank you all for coming and watching. There are a lot of questions about Amazon, and rightfully so. It is a complex system, and I've been working in the space for 8 years since I left Amazon, and it's not gotten any easier. So what I'll do is share my screen and dive into this for you, because it was really good when we went through the question set. It was pretty great because there was a lot of good key themes that were coming up. So let's go through this. Make sure you can see that, Sue. Awesome. So we created this Ask Me Anything session looking at 2023. Every year has been a bit different with Amazon as it matures, and frankly, as it gets more complex. It's almost become so big now that people in the system don't even know how it works. It just is almost working on its own in some ways. And so we'll go through the questions, but first we'll give you a quick introduction to the agenda. So there were four main categories of questions that came in. One was around executing your product from launch to steady sales on Amazon. And so captured a number of different questions about how do we get noticed and this thing called a buy box and all that fun stuff. Pricing and margins on the Amazon platform, and really how do we manage Amazon within my existing ecosystem of other brick and mortar retailers or online digital retailers to make sure that they can all work together and not cause channel problems, which we know can be a bit of an issue for people who are selling through this platform. So absolutely go through this all the time. We'll talk about how to manage that. Thirdly, there was this thing of seller support, and I put support in quotes on purpose because it is definitely a difficult space to navigate. Since 2020, it has gotten worse, not better. And I think that's just because they've scaled so large that they can't necessarily push the SOPs and training across the organization. So we'll talk about how to navigate that because there are some tips and tricks that we can go through. And then obviously selling NHPs. How do we sell those on Amazon.com? What does that look like? I'll share with you the playbook that we use to go through that with clients. We have a number of clients in the space, and navigating that is, again, not for the faint of heart, but definitely an opportunity for us to explore. All right, and then we have time available at the end for any additional questions that pop up. Please put them in the Q&A, and Sue and the team will just kind of curate those for the end. If there's something that's super urgent that I cannot proceed until, just note it in the Q&A, and we'll deal with it for you. Okay. And then if there are any additional questions and things, because there were some very specific questions in the question set that we received, I've put a Calendly link that I'm happy to meet with you for 30 minutes, free of charge. Just go through the issues that you're dealing with. If you have an agency you're working with and you want to make sure that things are going well, I do that all the time. Or if you just have a question, you're trying to navigate that first, how do we go from 0 to 1? Again, we navigate this all the time and happy to walk through that with you. Okay. So who am I? So I have been working in the startup ecosystem for the last 8 years. Prior to that, I spent 25 years working in mainly big tech. I'm a recovering mechanical engineer, and I moved mainly into product development and product management with my career from GE to BlackBerry and then to Amazon down in Silicon Valley, and came back to Canada about 8 years ago and really working with the regional innovation centers and organizations like Natural Products Canada to help Canadians really navigate the whole go-to-market activities for their products. And Amazon is that channel that is big and audacious and intimidating and stuff that I help a lot of people navigate that through. Okay, so look forward to sharing some of the insights and knowledge that I have. And again, if you have questions afterwards, you can get me on LinkedIn or that link as well. So first up, we're going to walk through the product launch strategy. And this is this whole challenge of how do we go from 0 to 1 on Amazon and getting found. Amazon and pre-sales came up. What is this buy box thing? So I'll walk through what that is. And then how do we manage advertising? And I have a few extra slides on advertising because advertising can be one of those very expensive educations. I know early when I was doing Amazon even, it's easy to kind of lose some money on that. And so it takes a lot of effort and a lot of diligence to make sure that you're managing your profitability. So we'll go through that as well. Okay, so let's hit the first section and talk about where it all begins. Okay, because where Amazon begins is on the homepage. All of you have seen this. This is one I just pulled down a couple days ago when I created this one slide. And this whole thing of how people get found, it is incredibly easy. Everyone goes to that top search bar and you see all, and they type in something that they want to search for. Okay. Now Amazon has created categories and subnodes and such, which barely get used. Sometimes the coupons certainly get used. Sometimes people go to the grocery section if they absolutely even see that exists there. But most people just go in and type something in. Okay. Now, Amazon is adding additional new search characteristics called semantic search. And semantic search techniques is really about association, everything from the words we use to the imagery that we're using in that first main image. And so where people are like, hey, my product is for dogs, it knows that that image is of a dog, not a cat, right? And so they're going to be showing your product there accordingly. So what we want to make sure is that we understand this customer journey, step one, right here. Now, what they do is they type in one or two words in the search bar first. Okay. There's a saying that, essentially if you want to hide something, put it on page 2, right? So it's like Google in that way. Not many people even know that the page 2, 3, or 4 in here, and we got to be on page 1. So what happens is almost everyone goes to page 1. This will drive the majority of your sales. Now, if the customer hasn't found what they wanted as they scroll through here, what are they going to do? They're going to refine their search characteristic, and they're going to add a few more words. Okay. So in this case, all I did was type in collagen peptides, right? And collagen peptides or collagen powder is one of those things that is absolutely incredibly competitive on Amazon. And so I thought I'd use it as the example. So what we see, that first search is those 2 words, and Amazon is immediately giving us ads. Okay. The top one is a sponsored brand ad. It gives me some lifestyle imagery, some product choices that I have, but you see here the sponsored little guy. Okay. The next one, guess what? Sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. First organic. Okay. And so this is the first product organically that Amazon is going to show you. And this slot is all based upon keywords, content, but also velocity. So when people type in collagen powder, we have collagen, peptides, protein powder, right? So they've got words in there that are going to show. They're obviously Organica. They're a collagen product. Amazon knows that. And they're Amazon's choice for that because most people buy this product when they search for collagen powder. What happens here is they're also sponsored against that same word. So they're trying to do an aggressive blocking strategy. They're sponsored here as well to block people out. So what we have to make sure is that we are able to advertise against the words that we can afford and that we think we can win with customers. In order for that to occur, we have to have done some keyword research. We need to update our listing to make sure we have the right words, but that's not just the front end, but also the back end. I lose a little bit of faith in humanity whenever I check search term information on Amazon because there's a lot of spelling mistakes, okay? And so we don't want spelling mistakes in the front end, but certainly in the back end of our listing, we want to make sure we take care of spelling mistakes, but also any translations. In Canada, we have French, right? And that's an opportunity for us to capture some additional French keywords in the back end of those, since most of it is going to be searched in English, just based upon demographics in Canada, okay? So how we're going to get notice is that pay-per-click advertising, okay? It is, in 2023, Amazon has become a pay-to-play platform, okay? In 2015, wasn't necessarily the case. There wasn't as nearly as much selection, there wasn't nearly as much traffic, but over time, and certainly through COVID, as everything stepped up digitally, it's a pay-to-play platform. And so what we want to make sure is that we know how to run ads to show up for the words that make sense. So if you are selling a collagen product, I would not necessarily go after collagen powder because that is so specific and so top of funnel for these particular products. What happens is you're going to lose, and it's going to be a very expensive click. And so we need to do appropriate keyword research that's going to allow us to have the amount of keywords here that says collagen powder for athletic recovery, right? Collagen powder for women. You hear that all the time. Collagen powder for something. And that is a longer tail keyword that's going to allow us to show up. It has a smaller amount of search that occurs, but is a higher percentage of us being able to win. Okay. So when we're looking at getting noticed, the organic ranking is an important part, and the ads ranking is an important part. And whenever we get a sale on collagen powder, whether it's for the ad or for organic, what happens is my ranking improves against that keyword combination. It also improves for all the keywords related to collagen powder. So Amazon knows collagen powder for women, collagen powder for athletes, collagen powder for whoever is something that is all related. And so your ranking for those keywords will also improve. Okay. Now, when we're doing our ad strategy, when it comes to getting noticed on Amazon, we have our sponsored brand, our sponsored product ads, as well as sponsored display. Now, the sponsored brand and sponsored display ads are only available for brand registered sellers, and those are people who have a trademark. Okay, so one thing we want to make sure you have is a trademark if you're going to launch your product on Amazon, and I have something for that later. The sponsored products are available to any seller. Doesn't matter, anyone can do it because Amazon wants to make money off of ads and opens that up for everyone. Okay. The sponsored display ads are something that will show up on different spots of pages, but also allows you to go off Amazon to bring traffic back to Amazon. Okay. We could talk about that a little bit more later as well. All right. So if we're going to get noticed in 2023, we have to have an ad strategy and we have to have keywords that support that. Now, these are two of the sponsored display type ads where we have it right on the page. The collagen peptide here from Sports Research collagen powder is advertising against Organica, and that's part of the ad strategy that they're using. Okay. Now, how else do we get clicks? Reviews. Okay. So we absolutely want to get reviews. And so to get reviews, we have the most terms of service aligned program is called the Vine program. The Vine program is administered by Amazon directly. You pay Amazon $240 Canadian per product, and you can get up to 30 reviews. Okay. The reason it's 30 reviews is once you really get over 15 reviews for a product, you have enough social proof to start the engine. Okay. So if you have 0 reviews and you start to advertise, you're probably going to spend a lot of money. If you have 15 reviews, that's kind of where I'm looking to go, okay, let's get some ads running across to other products, et cetera, because I'm starting to gain social proof. So with the Vine program, you get up to 30. You give them free product, plus you pay the fulfill by Amazon fees that are used to ship the product to that customer. It'll take around 6 weeks for all the reviews to come in. And the hit rate on these reviews, normally I'm around 28 of 30 because the people who are getting the product through the program are then measured. If they don't leave reviews, they'll get kicked out of the program. And so your review rate is very close to 100%. Okay. Well, when we're planning a launch strategy, this is one of the tools that we absolutely want to use to get those pre-reviews in. Now, additionally, we have a brand that we've built somewhere else. Perhaps we're just starting and we're starting our social media strategy. Maybe we're in brick and mortar. Maybe we have a Shopify site that we've started to build a mail list, et cetera. And what we want to do is engage with those people to give them a great deal to go to Amazon and buy your product. Okay. We give up to 40% off. So we maintain the verified review tag. If we go over that, what happens is Amazon sees that it's such a great discount that they almost lower the amount of impact that review has, and you won't necessarily see it as verified purchase. Okay. But what we do by engaging with our social followers and our mail list of subscribers to get them to our storefront, we already have people who are brand aligned, who may have already purchased our product from Shopify or from a different brick and mortar location, and we're more likely to get positive reviews, right? The Vine program does not guarantee 5-star reviews. It just guarantees reviews. And so if you have somebody who doesn't like the product, they may give it a 1-star review and you have no control over that, okay? So If we use our existing social followers and mail list subscribers and people who are already brand aligned, that's a way for us to get absolutely terms of service, proper reviews. We're giving them a discount. If you want to give them a discount to say, hey, we just launched on Amazon, come buy our product. That's a process that we can absolutely use. Now, offering to give them free product in exchange for reviews, offering to give them a PayPal discount on the back end, and all these other shady tactics, not recommended. And the reason is, honestly, Amazon is getting smarter and smarter by the day. They will catch you at some point, and it will be catastrophic for your business. Okay, so let's avoid the Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff. It's just not worth it. Let's try to engage our social followers and move them forward. And then when we actually get a purchase, there's something called a post-purchase outreach tool. I use Helium 10. It's one of the tools that I use. I saw one of the questions was about tools we use for keywords and such. Helium 10 is one of those tools. And Helium 10 has this post-purchase outreach tool, which allows you to send one email to the customer asking for feedback. Okay. Amazon sometimes asks for that automatically, and I'm sure all of you buy something from Amazon, and you've received that where it looks pretty generic. That's normally an Amazon outreach. If it has some customization, then it's using a post-purchase outreach tool like a Helium 10 or Feedback 5, there's lots of them if you do a Google search. Okay. But our goal to get there is to get up to 5% review rate on our products. Okay. If you're at 5%, you're world class in terms of review rates on products. Normally it's 1%. And so when you see 117,000 reviews, that's a lot of product they sold. Okay. Because it's really take 2 zeros to there, and that's the kind of high end of what they sold. Divide that by 5 is the low end of what they sold based upon just review rates and such. Okay. So reviews, super important. Stick within the terms of service, because if you do not, at some point, you're going to get caught. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. And it also keeps it a little bit cleaner for all of us who are playing by the rules. Okay. So bestseller badge, Amazon's Choice badge, these are all things you earn through sales. So Amazon's Choice, they're Amazon's Choice for the keywords. Bestseller is what sells best, #1 in the category of collagen powder. Okay. And then Amazon is now giving us velocity metrics to any normal person who's buying to determine if they want this product. So 10,000 of these were bought in the past month. That's why it's in the bestseller category. For the keyword term search, I think I used collagen peptides when I did this one. That's why this one came up with Amazon's Choice. It sold 7K in the last month as well. Okay, but those reviews we talked, bestseller, Amazon's Choice, these are all badges you earn based upon velocity. Okay. Now, how we convert. One of the challenges, of course, is we spend all this time, energy, and effort bringing people to our page. Okay, we paid for the click. We've done all the optimization on that first little snippet that they see, and they came to our page, and now we have to make them convert. So we have to make sure that our value proposition is absolutely clear on our page. Okay, so what does that mean? My first 85 characters of this need to be optimized with our primary value proposition, because 1, the title is the most important for SEO on Amazon, and 2, over 50% of all purchases happen on mobile. And if you do a mobile search for any product, you are not going to see the whole title. You'll see a snippet, and it's around 85 characters. Depends how crazy tablet your hand may be with your phone. Okay. Now, image #1 is the first and most important image from an Amazon perspective. It is supposed to be the product by itself on a white background, nothing else. Okay. And so, yes, you will see inconsistencies on this on Amazon. And what will happen at some point, usually Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Amazon will take your listing down because you're not within the terms of service. You've used a lifestyle image, you've added some additional text or additional stars and things on that. Don't do it. Product image, 1,000 pixels on the shortest side, less than 10 megabytes. That's all it is. And of course, Organica, very well recognized in the industry, in the market. If you went to Costco, you would see this product, et cetera. So you're going to recognize that product anyway. But you notice how they're showing little snippets over here of some of the gold medals and such that they've won for their product to try to further entice you, right? But this product is very clear what they're selling. It's enhanced collagen. I believe it's bovine collagen, and they're able to show the product with that great branding. And so your product needs to show that same kind of branding, whatever your branding is, but stick to that main product on a white background. Now, within Amazon, if you're a brand registered seller, which is why, again, it's important to have a trademark, you can use this manage experiments functionality to test various elements of this page, from the images to the title to the bullet points that are down here about this item. Those are all things that we can test. And so this used to only be available in the States. It's now available in Canada. And it is really powerful because we could optimize, and even, if I can improve conversion by 1%, based upon A/B testing, that can mean thousands and thousands of dollars, both saved on ads, but converted through sales. All right. So additionally, there's something called alt text. And so alt text has a couple benefits that we look at. One is the semantic search that Amazon is really leaning into with AI recently to, again, go organic or enhanced collagen could be related to these other things. And they're going to show that in other instances like fitness equipment and other stuff as well. Could be beauty products they'll show it with. But additionally, it helps people with screen readers engage with your product. And I understand it may be a small portion of the demographic, but the benefit of that is Amazon wants to support people who are using screen readers, and they're going to organically rank you higher if you're working within their bounds. Similar to Google. Add the semantic text, add that alt text to your listing, and you will gain organic placement, absolutely gain it. Okay? So how we clarify it, make sure our value proposition hops off the page. Okay? Title, main image, optimization. Now, additionally, we have this thing called subscribe and save. So subscribe and save bonuses up here. Everyone is automatically entered into subscribe and save, and Amazon offers a 5 or 15% discount. They fund that. 5% for most people, 15% if Don buys 5 things on the same delivery through subscribe and save, I'll get 15% off as a consumer. Okay, that's all funded by Amazon. That's all based upon them trying to get repeat purchases and also them trying to have one truck come to my house with 5 things at once. They save money anyway. Okay, but as a seller, you can increase that. Okay, you can add 10 points to that, and highly recommended we do, but we have to make sure we can afford it. So when we're looking at the total ad cost and all those things, we need to make this what TACoS means, total advertising cost of sale. And it's a measurement of your ad spend to your total sales. Okay, that's the number that matters. That's your customer acquisition cost in general for the brand. Now the buy box. The buy box is the most important part of Amazon, because if you do not have a buy box on your page, you will not sell. Okay. There's a whole bunch of litigation going on in the US at this point in time related to Amazon and buy box and fulfilled by Amazon, et cetera. But until something gets sorted out, we have to deal with this. So the buy box means I have to have the same lowest price on Amazon as any other digital channel around the web. What that means is product price plus shipping on well.ca, Healthy Planet, et cetera. That has to be no smaller than my Amazon price. Okay. What will happen is Amazon has all these little robots that go out, scour the web for name brand locations. And what that means is They're going after the well.ca's and healthy planets of the world to make sure that we have the best price possible on Amazon. Your Shopify store or WooCommerce site or whatever normally doesn't tip the scales. Okay. They're looking for the big guys out there. Okay. So super important. The last piece of this is the resellers. Okay. And I see this all the time where you end up getting distribution with a big distributor. That distributor is going to sell to people who want to buy the product. You get the sales, you're happy because you made a whole bunch of sales through one of these distributors. And then all of a sudden you have not just 3, but 29 different resellers, all playing with the price. Okay. And what happens is they start to drive your price up or down, and customers have a negative experience. So I've had this example a number of times where, let's say for this product normally sells for 41.56 in this case. Somebody lists this for $82. Okay. What happens is the customer who buys it for 82, because there are people who do that, they then see, wow, I could have bought this for $41 at Healthy Planet or Costco or whatever. Then they get angry. They don't get angry with random reseller 32. They get angry with you, the brand of Organica. So owning and controlling the map pricing across the channel will build an appropriate level of a relationship with customers so they don't feel that they're getting taken advantage of by not doing their due diligence, of course, but we have to be careful of that. On the flip side, if I have, normally this product sells for $41.99, say, well, right now it's selling for $41.56 one time. And Popeyes Supplements sees that it's selling for $41.56 instead of $41.99. They call and go, hey, what's going on? Right? And maybe for a couple cents, they're not going to notice or care. But when this starts to drive down to $39.99, $38.74, $32.36, because all these guys are fighting to get that buy box, and they will chase each other down to the last penny of where their profitability or break-even point is. Okay, so we have to make sure we manage the buy box, manage the resellers. Okay, and so when we work with distributors and our clients, we make sure that there's a clause related to Amazon sellers and that they have to have a brick and mortar store in order for us to actually sell them the product. Because we've had too many resellers that do this kind of fight down to the bottom, and it just muddies up the whole channel for you. And it's just more of a pain in your butt, which is why a lot of people had questions about the whole channel piece of this. Okay. So how else do we convert? We stay in stock. Okay. If you go out of stock, all this hard work you did on ads and such to get to the top, all the way down. Okay. I call it snakes and ladders. You made it there and then you rolled the dice the wrong way and you're down at the bottom again. Now, over the last few years, Amazon has made it faster to regain your ranking, but there's still friction. And that friction still says I have to pay for ads. I have to fight for my organic ranking. I have to see some churn through the system so that we know that Amazon goes, okay, yeah, they're good. They're a hot sauce. They're available. Now, in this case, this is a client of ours that I wanted to show because they were out of stock of this one, which is so frustrating. And thankfully, Amazon detected that, I'm probably going to buy one of their other products because I click it so often. I tried to make it so they wouldn't, but they kept finding me. Even in incognito, they knew. But here you've got an ad from Nando's because, again, they don't care. Amazon doesn't care what they sell as long as they sell. And so it's important to realize that you may not have all these different options of hot sauce, and Amazon's going to put every other hot sauce in here to try to steal that sale. And now you may have lost a customer. Okay. So stay in stock. Otherwise, you're going to be penalized to get back up the rankings. Okay. Now, PPC and advertising. As I mentioned, in 2023, Amazon is a pay-to-play platform. Okay. And it has become so complicated for ads. You cannot do this manually. Okay, I beg you, you cannot do this manually. When I first started, I had a lady who helped me in the Philippines who her job was to manually update all the ad campaigns, and that was a mechanical Turk way to do AI, ML, etc. for ad management. It's too complicated now. You need to use one of these tools. Helium-10 has a tool called Atomic. Techometrics has a tool that's the one I use. Perpetua's out there. I've heard great things about it. There's lots of these tools available. You have to have one of these. It doesn't mean you don't need a human engaging with it. And so if you want to make sure you're managing your budget, managing your spend, make sure you have an AI tool for managing ads, and then have a human who's interfacing to go, yep, these things make sense together, or hey, let's take this one out and let it kind of grow and do its thing while the other ones kind of keep working along. Okay. So when we're advertising on Amazon, we need to know our profitability. Okay. There's a lot of teams that I work with when I first meet, and they don't know how much money it costs, how much money Amazon is costing them, fee structures, et cetera. We have to know our profitability in order for us to determine how we can do ads. Tracking our TACOs, that total advertising cost of sale, which is this ad spend by total revenue. This is my customer acquisition cost on the channel. Okay, so it accounts for organic and inorganic sales. Know it. Segment your ads approach into my awareness, through auto campaigns, mining structures, down the aisle display ads. These are all tools that are available to us. Consideration, which is competitive brand names. Okay, if I have a collagen peptide brand, Vital Collagen, I may be advertising against the sports nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. Words that competitors are bidding hard to own. So if Vital Protein is really bidding hard on certain things, I can see if I can go after those words and be considered for sale. For conversion, branded keywords. Okay, you have a brand, you're in retail. Let's make sure if somebody types in your brand, they actually see it there show up. Okay, it's a blocking technique. I use it very often because, especially with the brands I work with, we're usually smaller brands kind of building our way up. And so we have to defend ourselves, and Amazon will reward us because somebody's going to see your product. They know your brand, they typed in your brand, they're going to buy that. And that's going to help everything through the system. So it's not wasted ad spend. It's an investment that allows you to gain organic ranking and other placement across a whole plethora of keywords. Longer tail keywords, lower competitive keywords. These are conversion-based things that I'm driving based upon my ability to convert. Okay, so this ad funnel is the same everywhere. Awareness, consideration, conversion, repeat purchases, tell a friend. Okay, and that's what we want to make sure we're working on. Now, when it comes to advertising, there's lots of things we have to be aware of. Is all the different placements we have. So I have my sponsored products, automatically finding keywords, tracking keywords, etc. Sponsored brand allows me to go after richer content, video ads. Those have been great since they added them about a year ago. Those have been fantastic from a performance perspective, as well as those top of search ads. And then the sponsored display ads, reaching audiences on and off of Amazon, going after new to brand metrics. So when I start with clients, we look at sponsored product and sponsored brand. These are the two main things. Sponsored display can be very useful. It could be very expensive for off Amazon stuff. Okay, so it's usually cheaper to run off Amazon stuff using your Instagram ads or TikTok ads and the like, and driving that traffic to Amazon to convert. That's usually cheaper than trying to use Amazon for that activity at this point in time. Okay, but definitely knowing what these are, knowing how to use them, this will be the majority of your sales, just based upon how many slots there are. This will be next, and that'll be next. Okay, but ultimately, if you're going to play on Amazon, if you're going to sell your products on Amazon, you will have to do advertising. There's just no way around it, unfortunately, but we have to make sure we can manage that budget. Okay, so pricing and margins on Amazon, how to manage pricing across the channel, kind of margins I could expect, and how should I budget for ads, right? More about ads because that's a very popular topic, okay? So I'm going to walk you through this multi-channel sales strategy as it goes to Amazon. I touched on it a little bit, but I think it's just visualizing this can be helpful. I know it's helped me in the past. So I have all these different business revenue streams that I have, okay? And if I'm selling a grocery product or a natural product, I most likely have to get a broker, okay? And this broker, she's going to represent me in a number of different channels, to a number of different distributors, to a number of different spots, as through their network to try to get you placement, okay? They're your salesperson. And then I have these physical retail locations like Sobeys. I know Sobeys has a great program for new sellers and what have you that a lot of my clients have utilized in the past. And a lot of times to get into that, we're going to use a broker. Okay. Broker's going to take their cut. There's some fees here. They're going to take their cut. End of the day, they pay me. Right. And then I get these online retailers like well.ca. Well.ca is very popular. They buy product. They're going to buy it directly from me, put it up on their site, and I'm going to sell to them at wholesale. Everyone's going to make money, et cetera. Okay? What's going to happen is this broker is going to then get me into a distributor. Okay, and I just use Purity. It's one of the distributors that I know. And that broker has that relationship, gets us listed with the distributor, which is going to give us wider placement opportunities because most of these retailers want to work through a distributor because it provides more direct to store or to hub shipping and what have you. Okay, they've already got systems set up for it. Well, now what happens is Purity is going to buy product from me. And then retailer is going to go, hey, I don't want to buy it from you anymore because that's more of a pain than it should be. And they're going to want to buy from Purity. Okay, that's fine. We just have to make sure that we, again, can afford it because they take their margin. This person's taking their margin. They're taking their margin. Okay. And then the online retailer says, oh, wait a second, you have distributor Purity. I'd rather buy from them. So there goes that revenue stream. Okay. And now I'm making less money through wholesale because I've got to pay them 28%. I've got to pay them 35 to 50%. And that's just how the numbers work. Well, then I have resellers, these random folks who pop up. Okay. Random reseller 32. And they go, hey, Purity, I want to buy some product too. And Purity says, okay, I'll sell it to you. Online retailer, well.ca may buy from them as well. Right. And so what happens is this reseller is now in the mix. Okay. On the other side of the equation, I have my own Shopify site. I have my B2C shopping through Amazon, and maybe I'm using Faire, right? Faire.com is a great site. I think it's partially Canadian too, so you could take a look at it. But it's mainly for B2B shopping. I call it B to small b, but definitely allows you to drive MOQs and such, and it's a pretty good option out there for hitting some other channels. And so I make a bunch of money through my website. I make some money through Amazon. I may make a little bit less money through Faire because they take a cut, plus it's also more of a wholesale deal. But the biggest challenge I have in this whole situation is map. Okay. Map is a problem because these guys are buying, these guys bought, these guys are selling. This is an online retailer, and it gets a bit muddy. And so my challenge in all of this is to make sure that our distributor has a relationship with us to sell product to people that are authorized. Okay. I had one client, still have her, and we had literally 29 resellers on a SKU. Prices all over the place. Her phone's ringing all the time because nobody's happy, right? The resellers aren't making any money because they're going down to the last dollar. All her retailers are all angry because they're not making any money. They see this. It took a lot of work to clean that up. But once we had a provision in place to say, hey, you can only sell to these people who have brick and mortar stores who aren't just resellers, or for resellers that are going to respect MAP, okay? Because we have to manage that channel. Now, if I offer a sale with Healthy Planet or well.ca, we're going to run a sales calendar that I need to make sure I have that in there as well, okay? And we can manage MAP across the entire channel there. So fundamentals of profitability with Amazon, I've included this little revenue calculator, and this revenue calculator will allow you to calculate how much Amazon is going to take for supporting Fulfilled by Amazon sales. You need to know your charges, raw material costs, manufacturing costs, packaging, shipping, duties, as well as the fees that are going to be charged. And I mean this, that 1 gram can make or break your business model, especially if you're selling products at $29.99, okay? 1 gram, the difference between making $1.50 and not. So look at the price bands, figure out bundles. If you see someone who's selling a 6-pack, they're probably doing it because that's where they can make money. Okay. But know this, like you have to know your numbers like the back of your hand. If you're selling a $150 product, it may not be as big of a deal, but certainly in the high velocity, 29, 34, 39, you need to know it. How much can you expect to make? I tell people 40%. 40% margin before ad spend, 20% after. Okay. So what this means is I'm assuming about a 20% tacos for your product. So if you sell that product for $30, you have $6 of fees that you would do to sell that one product. Okay. That's blended across organic and inorganic sales, of course. But 40% margin is what you should expect to make. And let's see if we can make a business case with that. Channel costs to consider: shipping into, sellout fees are 15%. If you sell grocery under $20, then it's 8%. If you're a handmade seller, so if you're doing handmade skincare products or handmade bath bombs and the like, referral fee is 12%. Okay. Fulfilled by Amazon charges at XYZ in mass, and then those advertising charges around 20%, plus their monthly fee, which I highly recommend. You need this in order to be Prime eligible. Now, seller support. Okay. If you sell on Amazon, you will need to engage with support. Okay. There's 3 types of support that I'll talk about here: seller support, brand support, and account support. Seller support is who you're going to talk to 90% of the time. Okay. I highly recommend if you call them around now, okay, it is 2:30, 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will most likely get Costa Rica or a US call center, and they seem to have more access to tools and answers than we have from other regions of the world. If we get into other regions, what's happened is they've scaled so quickly that the quality has definitely come down. Okay, so if you're able to wait until kind of late morning, early afternoon, kind of Eastern Standard Time, you're going to get usually Costa Rica or a US call center, and it's just a different level of service that I've experienced. Okay. Now, brand support, if you're brand registered, you're going to engage with these people for brand tools and really protecting your brand. So if you have the brand registry, you have a different dashboard that allows you to go in and contact those brand folks. If you have random resellers, your brand trademark being used in a way that it shouldn't be being used, et cetera. But that's all they're there for. If you try to get to them for anything selling related, they'll kick you back to seller support. Okay. And then the last one here is the account support. So the account support people they're very good. They're very much available. And what happens is, this is if you have a problem with your account and Amazon says, oh, too many customers have complained about the quality, too many customers complained about the product not working or whatever, they're going to put you on notice and you need to respond. It's not something you can ignore. If you ignore it, it'll go bad. You have to respond, but just read everything they send you, print it out if you have to, read it, because it's usually in legalese and it is very wrapped up. Okay. So make sure you read it thoroughly. And before you respond, if you have questions, reach out to someone who knows, who's done it before. Even for them, it gets a little bit hard. Okay. But these are the 3 levels of support. Now, there's one additional wildcard level, which is this new seller agent. And the new seller agent is someone who is there to help you navigate your way through Amazon. And what I've essentially see is the brochure is wonderful. The level of support you can get is not as robust as you would hope. They point you in the right direction for resources. They can escalate from time to time internally, but normally not very much. But they can give you access to additional ad slots and additional placements that you would not have had access to if you weren't using a new seller agent inside, and it's completely free. Okay. So if you get contacted by someone who says, hey, let's work together and sell on Amazon, and they have an Amazon.com email address, then they're a new seller support agent. And just realize they're not the bat phone. Okay. They are there to help you navigate, show you the map, but they're not going to really be able to intervene in many things. All right. So if you sell on Amazon, it's important to realize that you need to forecast your own sales and manage your own inventory. You're not getting purchase orders. Okay. If you get purchase orders or when Amazon buys from you, this is a consigned inventory model. You're shipping inventory in, you still own it. It's all your responsibility. You're going to create shipments and send them into the system. You're going to track your performance, make sure you're monitoring competitors coming in, et cetera. I think the biggest thing here is chasing every nickel that Amazon holds onto by mistake. Okay. They're notorious for losing shipments, and it may just be one unit from a skid. It could be an entire skid. And then it takes time, energy, and effort to get that back. And this happens with every big retailer you sell to. There's always those little clawbacks and such. At least with Amazon, there's an escalation path to get that money back. Okay. Now, NHPs, FDA labeling, FSVP, all that fun stuff. So to sell NHPs on Amazon.com, these are the people that I use. Okay. Have your label updated for FDA requirements. I use a company called Nutrisource. They're in Guelph, Ontario. They also have offices in Europe and down in the States as well. Purchase your product from a manufacturing facility that is GMP certified. Okay. Do not go to a place that's not GMP certified, because if you don't have that GMP certification, the good manufacturing processes and done by ANSI, et cetera, you will not be able to sell on Amazon. Okay, I had one client who bought a bunch of product from there, and the factory decided to go get the GMP certification afterwards because they had a number of clients who were trying to sell on Amazon.com. So just make sure they're GMP certified. Depending on the claims you're making, you may want to use Dyad Labs, and you can look that up. Registering with an FSVP broker, I use United Safety Agents. They've been fantastic, very reasonable price, and certainly happy to make an intro if somebody needed it. I ship using a carrier. We use Freightboy. There's other ones. You just have to make sure that they're qualified to ship the class of goods, that they know how to do the FDA prior notice and all that other fun stuff. And these guys happen to be partnered with United Safety Agents, so it's just easy for me to work with the two of them. Okay. And lastly, we want to make sure there's enough life on your product. Once product goes across the border to the US, it does not come back. It'll come back as far as Buffalo or Washington State and whatever border town is near you, but that's it. They do not ship it across the border back. You're gonna have to go across, get it, et cetera, or just have it destroyed, or use it as samples and ship it to people who you're trying to launch into the US, of course. Okay, but 12 to 18 months, preferably closer to 18, because Amazon requires you to have 6-month minimum dating. Okay, and then what's next? Okay, so how we work is we want to make sure that you're going to differentiate yourself from the competition by offering something unique, improving on someone's life, an existing product, find a way to do it better than others, and communicate it. Work with someone, I don't care who can optimize your listings, titles, bullets, and descriptions, okay? Getting those keywords through tools like Helium 10, Jungle Scout, those are the two premier tools. I use Helium 10, but up to you which one you want to use. Develop a brand if you've not done it already. Okay, get a trademark, build a website, establish a brand following and awareness off Amazon as well as on. Okay, the brand will help you be successful in any channel you're working on and protect it. It costs $500 unless it's more complicated, but it's usually $500. Use a service like Haloo, HALOO.co. They're in Waterloo, Ontario. $150 for a trademark to then register it for $350 with the Canadian government. Okay, great deal. Invest in marketing and promotion of your product both on and off. Okay, budget ad dollars to compete. So when I tell people, they always ask, hey, Don, how long is it going to take for us to be profitable? 3 to 6 months. The more brand you have, the closer to 3. The less brand you have, the closer to 6. And it's because we have to, you look at collagen peptides and collagen powder, obviously a super competitive category with a lot of great placement. We want to make sure we can show up and we are known as a great replacement for that. Okay. So if there's questions, Sue's going to put in the note out that booking link. We'll send you the PDF of all this so you have it as notes. If you have questions, you can absolutely reach out to me. Happy to chat for half an hour to see what's going on. If you're curious if it works for you as a channel, or if you're like, hey, we're doing it and it's not working and we want someone else to take a look, see, just let me know, and happy to help you. And back to Sue.
Great. Thank you, Don. That was awesome. I do want to look at this last question that came in, because it is a good one. It's a little complicated, but I think we should try to squeeze it in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll just read it now. So Amazon is taking on average 25% in fees, co-op, and given that they only pay us approximately 50% of SRP, they're effectively getting 75% margin. Correct. So that is correct. So that's a vendor program. So what's happening is Amazon is buying it from you, and that's where they're hitting you with the fees, and they do the pickup, and oh, a bag broke and you need to pay for it, etc. And so this is vendor. And so 100%, it's tough to make money in vendor because of all those fees. And they don't pay for ads. And so when the Amazon vendor folks come around as buyers, because they buy the product, you got to be really careful. So what I would recommend is your product, if Amazon wants to buy it, here's the fees and here's the price I can afford. You can also be a seller on your same product. And so you have a different margin stack for seller, which is what I was going through, than you do with vendor. So if you see a product, for example, for $4.99, I was looking at oat milk and they had the $4.99. It's like the only way that can be done is through vendor. And the person who's selling it to them is making about 28 cents per jug and really can't afford to advertise it. Okay. So that's a big issue with vendor that you have to be aware of. Okay. And that's why the glossy brochure, when the Amazon vendor folks are walking around shows or whatever not to get you in as a buyer, gets really exciting, but you may not be very profitable. And so we should talk.
Okay. That's interesting. The first question there that we didn't really get to, any programs to find out about keywords and what people are searching for on it.
So that would be Helium 10 is a tool, Jungle Scout. Those are the two main tools that I would recommend for that. And then the last question that just came in, how can platforms like Helium 10 help enhance your listing on Amazon, improve your listing without using such platforms? Yeah. So highly recommend you use a platform like a Helium 10 or Jungle Scout, just because they have APIs for data direct from Amazon that allows them to get the latest and greatest search information. And so it's important to have those. If you're going to sell on Amazon, you have all these other fees to pay, $50 a month to have a Helium 10 type program that you can use yourself, all the way up to, a couple $100 a month. It may be worth it for you just to have access to that level of data.
Right. Okay. That's excellent. Don, sorry.
One more question here. Yeah. So what is your opinion on building a Shopify store and using Amazon's multi-channel fulfillment? Okay. Very quickly. I do this all the time. I love it. Okay. If there's one thing Amazon does well, it ships. Okay. Heck, it usually ships stuff before I even think I wanted to buy it. Okay. So they are great at shipping and their rates are fantastic. So for example, you can ship product to a customer for $8, $9. That would cost you $15, $20 to ship via Canada Post and other solutions. Okay, so multi-channel fulfillment is absolutely a tool to use because they do Amazon, and you don't have to sell the product on Amazon. You can put it in, list the product, close the listing, but then Amazon will be able to ship that through your multi-channel fulfillment integration with Shopify. So we do this all the time. Love it.
Okay, excellent. That's one of the most positive things you've said for the last hour. Everything else seems very challenging.
It's challenging. It's challenging, but they do shipping great.
Yeah. But this has been amazing. I'm so much information, so much practical stuff that people can take with them. So thank you really very much for being here. Everyone, I really want to thank you for attending. As I said, we're going to send out the video for this and the link so that you can reach out to Don directly with any questions that you might have, and we'll send along the deck as well. But thanks so much, everybody, for being here, and just enjoy the rest of your day.
Great. Thank you so much. Pleasure. And Sue, thanks to you.
Thank you.